What's the skinny on the recent Supreme Court decision? More importantly, what's the beef between justices and experts? What up, guys? Welcome to Chad's Hot Goss, where we break down the hottest, beefiest stories in the culturescape without bumming you out. Today, we are diving into the Supreme Court's recent decision regarding the case of Chevron versus natural resources. This one's super spicy, and according to my nerdy friend Dawn, it's going to have a lot of future implications for us, so buckle your seatbelts because we're going for a judicial ride. And don't worry, I'm not going to make it as boring as law is, okay? This is going to feel more like a murder mystery show, I hope. So, let's break down this beef and then lay out the massive societal implications it has on us moving forward. Damn, that felt good to say. I am fired up. Guys, I love hot goss. Okay, first a little background. What is the case of Chevron versus natural resources all about? Well, so back in 84, we had the Chevron versus natural resources case, and it was in the Supreme Court, and Chevron won the case. Now, I know what you guys are wondering. Wait a second, dude. Chevron the Techron guys? Like the freaking cars with smiley faces on them? Yeah, they're making legislation. So, you know, they're a lot more powerful than just some cute cars. And honestly, I like the Chevron gas stations the most. They bring in, like, when you go to Chevron in the desert, is there anything sicker? Reminds me of Autopia in Disneyland. So anyways, back in 84, the hippies were already chirping the government about gas emissions because we were clearly starting to hotbox the earth with smog. And people were like, especially the hippies were like, hey man, this is an issue. And Big Oil, of course, wanted to be like, it's not an issue. But then the government was like, wait a second, it might be an ish. So things started to travel up and eventually got to the Supreme Court. So once it got to the Supreme Court, a bunch of judges made regulations on gas emissions, but a lot of people at the time were like, hey, what the heck do you dudes know about amish? Like, you're stuck inside all day, rocking a wig and snuggled up in a robe. Like, do you even hike, bro? Which is a valid question, you know? So the judges, to their credit, they're like, okay, bet. I hear what you're saying. We don't get amish. So when certain areas of expertise like this come up in law interpretation, let's outsource this ish to the experts. That was the Chevron versus natural resources case. Basically, judges decided that from here on out, whenever something comes up in the law that they have to interpret, but they don't have expertise in that, they will defer to government agency experts. So more succinctly, this is the Chevron deference, where whenever certain areas of expertise are needed to interpret law, judges will defer to the experts to interpret the law for them as long as it is reasonable. I don't know what I just said there, but I think you guys can grasp what I'm saying, I hope. So, as a result, Chevron deference moves forward. Government's like, what up, experts? We're giving you guys some power. This gave a ton of power to government agency experts like the EPA and other things like the EPA. So, like, if Congress wanted to pass a law about clean water, then the judges would be like, well, what the heck is clean water, dude? And then an expert could come in and be like, well, if we want clean water, we should be pumping our pipes with Perrier. And then the judge would be like, legit, you're the experts, and that's what we're going to do, which would be sick. And honestly, something that I'm putting out there because I want to manifest that, I think pipes, especially in LA, full of Perrier would totally boost the state. I'd settle for La Croix, but I think Perrier is sick. Anyways, this Chevron deference is where the beef between justices and experts starts because it has led to a power struggle between the judges and the experts. Lately, the conservative judge has been like, hey, you dudes have too much power and we want it back. And the experts were like, well, you can't have it because you don't know shit. And then the judges were like, well, gotcha, bitch, because we're a freaking conservative majority. So now we can have all the power and we can call the shots. Pack your bags, nerds, before we give you a fat judicial swirly. Sorry for swearing, but I was acting it out for you. And I think that's how the conversation actually went. So what I'm trying to say here is that the Supreme Court just overturned Chevron versus natural resources and gave a metaphorical bitch slap to the experts. And I think some of the justices actually did give some experts a swirly. I think that would be hilarious because they're both nerds. So it's just like nerd on nerd freaking swirling. And yeah, suck it. So what now? Well, now the judges have the ability to put their hog on the table without repercussion. They can rewrite laws that the experts helped establish to protect the earth and our environment. For example, For the past 30 years, fishery observers have helped ensure that we're not fishing too much in the ocean so that we can continue to fish in the future. It's kind of like when you get popcorn in a movie and you can't just crush the tub during the previews because then you're left with an empty bucket and salty hands during the whole movie. Like when it comes to fish, you got to pace yourself, you know? Also be mindful of your girlfriend's desire for popcorn because she's a slower eater and she'll get pissed if you eat it all, which I've been through, and it really sucks, you know? It totally kind of put a damper on Disturbia. Sorry, Tracy. Anyways, basically what I'm saying is don't be greedy. The tuna is the popcorn. The ocean is the bucket in this metaphor. Okay, so what now? So now judges can tell these fishery observers to freaking bounce without experts coming in and being like, hey, you can't do that. Is this amount of power in the judge's hands too much? Maybe. But let's look at the flip side here, dudes. The conservatives argue that the experts use their power of expertise to influence laws in the favor of big corporations. What does that mean? Well, let's say Congress passed a law saying that surfers can only use soft top boards. Then an expert comes in, he's like, yeah, surfers can only use soft tops. So then all the surfers come in, they're like, well, how am I supposed to do a fat judo air if I'm only ripping soft tops? And the judge is like, well, the expert said that that's what we're doing, that we're doing soft tops, so nothing I can do. But now the judge can be like, hey, wait a second. This expert is just a kook working for Big Soft Top. Whoa. He's trying to boost soft top sales so he can buy a yacht and fund his Percocet addiction. So how about you be gone, soft top kook? We're going back to fiberglass and epoxy. In this case, the judge slapped his hog on the table, laid down the law, and said, hey, I'm the captain now. That's the other side of it. Where do I stand on it? Well, I don't think we should give the judges this much power because sometimes we need experts to come in and be like, hey, you can't do that. And then the judge can just override them. But I think we should also vet these nerds and check their pockets. Like, you know, who knows if an expert just has Mr. Kellogg telling him what's what? You know, Tony the Tiger's friggin' jerking him off, being like, hey, can you do something for Big Cereal? And he's like, oh, yeah. So yeah, let's keep Big Cereal and Big Soft Top from influencing the experts. Man, that was a doozy. Guys, I'm super interested to hear what you guys think about this whole ish. It's hot, it's juicy, it's spicy, it's beefy. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Chad's Hot Goss. I'm so stoked on this goss. I'm so stoked on the channel. And I'm so stoked on you guys. Let's get this thing growing because I want to start breaking down all the stories in the news that are really affecting the nation. And I'm so grateful to all of you guys. So stay stoked out there. And what up?